Hey guys, what's going on? Today's lab, we are fully loaded. Why your to-do list might actually be sabotaging your success. Guys, some 3 diet changes I made, which made me sharper, leaner, and annoyingly more productive. Yeah, true story. The surprising science of love, coming up with AJ Zegan later on in the show. Plus, we're busting myths about stuff that happened with guys and giving you some hacks to actually improve some performance. And hey, listen, we're going to get into a no-holds-barred takedown of the illusion economy, fake podcasts, fake followers, and the fake experts flooding your bed, flooding your feed. Jimmy, I'm still half asleep, man. The 2 hours of sleep last night. Listen, if you're still in bed, man, it's time to sit up, get up, because the show just slapped your snooze button off the nightstand. Good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Keith Bilous. This is the morning show for men, an R-rated show. Kids, get out of the room or grab those headphones and tell them it's finance talk for kids. I'm your host, Keith Bilous. As I told you already, I'm just still waking up here today. We got Jon Andersen over there, C. Marty Fit coming in over there. And Jimmy, I got something that I just forgot to send you earlier, but I'm going to send it over to you right now there, pal. Listen, this is your morning show accountability show for men. We get after it every single day here at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And it is something that we do right here on YouTube, X, LinkedIn. Jimmy, I'm putting something in your feed there, my friend. I'm dropping it over to you guys here. We got producer Jimmy on the buttons. We got a big show here today. We got Johnny back in his own lab. I can see he's honking on the old cigar. And Jim, why don't we bring the young man into the lab, kick off the show, catch up with Johnny and show forth. What's up, brother?
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little tired. I arrived last night from Carter's championship experience. I rolled into the house around 1:40. I found myself on the couch at 2. I found myself up at 4. I found myself in the gym by 5. I got my lift in, got my routine in. Because Johnny, if I don't get my routine in, it just wrecks everything for me. So I'm like, no, I still got to do my routine. You know how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a weird one myself this morning, brother. Though I'm really jacked to be back in my own space. And I thought that this was going to be kind of the thing that kind of helped me. I guess you'd say pull my head out of my ass. You know, I think this trip was a lot of fun, but it was also, dealing with, I've never had one of my siblings' children pass away. And that's a fucking, of course, it seems like fucking people of the last couple of years, it seems there's been more death in my life than I can remember in a long time.
I know. Yeah.
But this was, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I didn't process it till it was over. I don't know, but it's like, fuck, man, it's definitely, I'm in a different spot. I'm trying to figure out what it is, to be totally honest.
It's weighing on you, eh?
Yeah. And I don't really, and I guess the thing is I don't really understand it. Probably not supposed to this early on, but it's definitely, I guess what it's kind of trying to put it into like a visual,
Yes.
It's all of a sudden, like, imagine like a keyboard, right? And I knew all my keys, right?
Yes.
And I knew what sounds to make, what time to hit them.
Yes.
And all of a sudden now there's a bunch of new fucking keys that appeared. What the fuck are these? What are they doing here? What sounds do they make? What am I supposed to do with them? It's like, what the fuck is going on here? I understood my keyboard so well, 7 days ago.
So you know what? Can we do this? Can we do this? I want to visit this. I want to visit this conversation because I think it's an important one. Good morning, Kelly King. I see you there in the comments. Good to have you here this morning on Morning Lab with Keith and Friends. I'm Keith Bilous. That's Jon Andersen. We get after it every single day here, 8 o'clock Eastern time, a morning show for men. Good morning, Jeremy Cunningham. I see you there as well. Good morning, Holroyd. Adam, I see you there as well, you guys. I want to have this conversation. Let's just get into it. But I want to do that after I share this video. Because I've been promising the audience about my little journey here the last few days. So Jimmy's just getting this thing set up. So we're gonna kind of do a dichotomy of conversation, Johnny. We're gonna get into a little bit of and I'm just setting it up because I want to be cryptic with it. Jimmy, let me know when you're ready there, pal. We're gonna get this video running. It's about a 30-second video. It's gonna tie a little bow on the last week of my life. Or not tie a bow in my life. And then good morning, David Landis. Good morning there, brother. Good to see you there in the comments. And then I want to get into what you've been experiencing, because I think it's something that many of us men go through. And I think sometimes we don't know how to process it. We don't know how to process loss. And you're having to deal with loss on a very personal, intimate level that you didn't know how you'd reconcile with when you went into this.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it seems like in my choice of careers, a choice, my path of life.
Yeah.
A lot of people die. It's just, God
Yes.
damn it. It's just the nature of, the sports that I did
Yes.
and,
Yes.
the pace of life that I picked. A lot
Yes.
of people fall off the edge of this pace of life, but it's understandable. And this is the life you pick. These are the choices you make. The stresses are high, the risks are high when shit happens. And then this situation is like, here's as my brother's boy who didn't subscribe to, he subscribed to a very, very, I don't know, inside the box life,
Yeah.
and somehow, some way, this whole thing unfolds. It's just like, I don't know. I'm just not connecting the dots right now.
Yeah. How's Terry doing?
She's doing okay. I mean, obviously it's, she can kind of sense something's going on with me for sure. So, and that's one thing that we're really good about is like when she was going through her challenge with her shoulder and her shoulder surgery and obviously I speak it now. I think I told you in private, we had a potential cancer scare with her too, all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
I was, she starts to struggle. It's just my nature to go into that, ultra rock mode, meaning that ultra pillar, that ultra, hold on, I'm here, whatever you need. And so we're good at kind of flip flopping back and forth. So she can sense that something's going on with me. So she's sturdying up right now. And so she's tough, she's doing what she's got to do to be there for me. I don't even know that either one of us know what I need, but something's happened.
Well, you know what? Yeah. So I appreciate your laughter. I appreciate your smile. Jimmy, here's what we're going to do. I want to run this clip. And then, Jim, I'm going to do the accountability check-in because they fit one and one together. And then I want to come back and continue the conversation with Johnny about this and about a few other things on the agenda. This is an important conversation. So, Jim, let's run this video, and I will then do the accountability check-in so that we can keep the show rolling. Johnny, Jimmy, when you're ready. Proud moment for me last night. Jimmy, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, they won the championship last night, Johnny. They won it. They swept the team 3 straight. Of course, they had to go to overtime. As you know, hockey games 3 periods. They were at the end of the first period. They were winning 2-0. We thought we were cashing the check. By the end of the third period, the game was tied. It was going to overtime, and yeah, exactly. And just to set it up, the game is 2.5 hours from my house, so it's 10:30, and they're going into overtime, and I'm like, oh, really? They have to go to overtime? So, right? It's just
that's one of those moments, brother, where like, okay, look, our routines are important, but these are moments that don't get recreated. Something has to be sacrificed.
Yep.
It's going to be the routine.
Yeah, no, and you're right. You're absolutely right. So, we celebrated that. And what I'm really proud of, Carter has played in the team for 3 years. His first year, they won the championship. He was the rookie that gets the junior. He's now the captain. He's the elder statesman on the team. He led his team to the championship, which is pretty damn awesome. They've had 1 loss since December, the greatest goals against average across the league. And now they're off to the regional championships, Johnny, which is next week at a community 2 hours east of here. If they win that, they head off to the national championship. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty proud moment for me and for the family, and it's pretty awesome. So it's a lot of fun. So Jimmy,
thank you for sharing that, bro. That actually stuff like that in times like this for me, stuff like that is like exceptionally powerful. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for listening to that and receiving that. So let's do this, Jim. Let's do the accountability check-in, and then I want to come back and continue this conversation with Johnny on loss and life and what it means to all of us and so forth. But listen, a little different show today. Yeah. What does it mean to say I show up no matter what? You heard me talking about it here a few moments ago. It was around 2 a.m. when I got home last night, a couple hours ago. My son Carter had a hockey championship, and I was not about to miss it. As Johnny talks about these life moments you just don't miss. But Mornings in the Live was still going live at 8 o'clock this morning Eastern time right here on YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. So I had a choice, either honor my commitment or hide behind an excuse. Well, we know there wasn't going to be an excuse. I show up here because that's what I do. This is my job. This is my living. But here's the thing, the work-life balance, we talk about it. It's a lie. You know it's a lie, you guys. Balance assumes everything gets equal weight. Well, yeah, don't go to the kids' game. Go to bed early, get my 8 hours, get in and get life. Something matters more over there. You got to make the call. Are you going over there? Or are you staying over here? Here's how I do it. I pick my priority. And obviously, the priority yesterday was Carter's hockey game. Everything else didn't matter. The day before that, it was Piper's Dance Championships. Then you protect your non-negotiables. The game mattered, but so did my morning routine, my morning non-negotiables, and this show. Got up this morning, still got my lift in, still got my coffee in, did my entire routine. Why? It's the same reason you brushed your teeth this morning. It's just how I live. It's just, why do you breathe? Well, it's just how it is. I got up, did my thing. Am I tired? Of course I'm tired. Am I going to grab a nap today? Probably. Am I going to bed earlier today? Probably. But here's the thing. You got to accept the trade-off. You can't do everything, right? Last night, sleep took a hit. That's the price I chose to pay. But you show up anyways, because just because you're tired doesn't mean you get a pass. You honor the commitments. You refuse to compromise. So guys, I invite you to think about the push and pull between work and life differently. If you're struggling to find the balance, you're probably asking the wrong questions. It's not a matter of doing everything. Say no more than you do say yes. It's about knowing what matters most today and refusing to let that slip. And of course, putting the non-negotiables in there. So what's the non-negotiable you're going to honor even when it is inconvenient? I invite you to share it in the comments. There's the Mornings in the Lab accountability check with myself, Keith Bilous. We get after it every single day here at 8 o'clock, 8:15 Eastern time. A little bit of a different show here today. Getting after it with Johnny. He's back in the lab. Good to have him back in the lab. And we kicked off talking loss and with Johnny. So let's just we're gonna bring that back in here. Let me see here. All right, Jimmy. Let's bring Johnny back in here when he's ready to get after it here. There, I'm just looking at my notes here this morning here, guys. Okay, there we go. All right, so I wanted to get into here's one for us. So here's the thing here too. Hey, John, so just coming back to how we kicked this thing off. You got in yesterday? When did you get in?
Late afternoon.
Yeah, so you've been dealing with it in your head since yesterday, or was it this morning when you woke up and talking yourself in and your mind is telling you stories, or where did this start?
I kind of felt this. I mean, I don't know. And forgive me that my words are not even real clear because it's like I'm kind of sort them as they come out, you know.
Yeah.
I could tell something was going on, you know, but you know, it's pretty common, you know, why would something not go on with that situation, you know? And then I guess the thoughts, you know, there's a certain point where you have these, you know, new experiences, new thoughts, you know, they circle around you kind of become one with them. They file into their spots. They're part of you. You move forward, you know, and it's like these different experiences, different thoughts have to kind of find their place within you. Yeah. Become part of you to move forward. Right. And it's like, I feel like these things are just whatever it is that I'm trying to figure out. It's just floating around and I'm having a hell of a time finding a place for it to land or it to settle in, you know, it's just like, and I try to think, well, what is this? Cause it's here for a reason. You know, what's happened and why? Lots of great questions. I wonder if it's because, Johnny, your brain has told you that the lifestyle you've lived, as you said, the people you've lived around and been around, certain lifestyle, certain risks associated with you've dealt with passing, you've dealt with death as part of your life. But then when your sibling's child, right, passes, right? That's what it was, right? Yeah, it's my brother's middle boy. That's not part of the story. That's not part of your lifestyle. That's not part of what's quote unquote supposed to happen. So your brain's like, wait a minute. The guy wasn't
50 or 60, didn't have a bunch of life behind him, didn't achieve a bunch of things. Then this happens, and it's like your brain is trying to process why and how and where does it fit within the story you've told yourself for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, totally. And I think, I mean, there's no question that there's some shit that's out of line. And I guess I'm trying to figure out, I guess, as I sit here and just kind of, and I guess I shouldn't try to, yes, I'm trying to figure out, but I'm trying not to force anything. As we force things like this, usually it's just some sort of a premature spot of like, oh, I'm better now. But no, you just kind of told yourself you were, so you could have a break. But I think it's weird. Everything happens to her. So this whole thing happens. I start fucking acting funny, and I don't even say acting funny. Like Tara said, I got a little quiet, like I was kind of within, like I was, there was something going on. So she, just by the nature of who she is, we're driving.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll talk and, have a fun conversation. Other times we'll listen to like a really good book, So she normally will discuss what do we want to listen to, what do we want to talk about, blah, blah, blah. Well, she kind of just registered this and she plays this book. And I don't even remember what the guy's name was, but it was ultimately him telling a story about his life, about how he found his purpose, and it was just an interesting story. And so I started to it almost kind of made me start to think, like, holy shit, is this here for is this here to shift my direction? Because all of a sudden certain things that were, it could be temporary, I don't know, but lots of things that used to be very exciting to me don't seem very exciting, which is really fucking weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, really fucking weird. Like, holy shit. Like, I mean, I could give two shits about riding my dirt bike today. Normally I'm like, fuck, I can't wait to do something like that. Even my routine was a little bit of a grind, and like I kind of felt that coming on. So what I did was I actually altered it ahead of time to where I was basically in my chair, where I think anytime I want to meditate or have a certain place, that chair is where I go. And I was in that chair at 3:05, and I had until 4:00 sectioned off. So I had 55 minutes for me to sit there, which I felt like was really necessary, because I needed the time to just kind of, be, think, reason, whatever you want to call it. So I definitely, I've made some slight changes to try to get a little deeper into what's going on, but it's definitely, I guess, to say, the only thing I can really say for sure is I'm in a really fucking interesting / weird spot.
Yeah, you are. What I admire though about this and about you is that you have the awareness with it. And I think if I bring it back to our show and bring it back to morning, Ali, I see you there in the comments. Good to see you here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. I'm your host, Keith Bilous. That's Jon Andersen over there. We're talking loss right now. We're talking processing loss. We're talking life. We're talking life, frankly. And Johnny, I applaud you for having the awareness, because I think that's often what we even talk about in the show and talk about with our men and coach our men and talk about with our men is finding that awareness, processing it, and not putting it in the compartment, not ignoring it, not running from it.
Have the balls to feel it.
Yes.
This confusing shit, man. It'd be a lot easier for me to just throw this over my fucking shoulder and keep doing what I normally do. But I don't think that's, my plan.
No, that's not healthy. That's not healthy.
Yeah. When I think my plan is I've did, if you look back over the course of my life, there's been a lot of, call it abrupt, call it weird, call it different, whatever adjective you want, some direction changes and some choices that I've made, but they're just kind of based upon something that's happening to me. Yes. Meaning that, like, something I'm feeling, some sort of a draw, sometimes I don't really know, just know I'm supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out if this is one of those times, and it'll come to me if it's one of those times. Just, sometimes these things can be be a little fucking freaky, because you, like, I mean, to all of a sudden change a direction of your life on some sort of what my people call a whim, what I would call more of like an internal redirection. it's, you know, it's can be exciting. It can be really fucking freaky too. You know,
Are you questioning your purpose?
you know, that's a good one. I honestly, right now, I'm in question of a lot of shit. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is temporary of me. I mean, I should go back and say that I do know that something that still is alive and well in my heart and who I am is helping and inspiring people. I know that that's not gone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's no question. I think I don't know. I mean, like when I think of helping somebody else achieve something that they didn't think they could do, that's always going to light my fire. I don't think that'll ever go away. But, you know, comparing, you know, maybe I'm going to change how I do it a little bit. Fuck, I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't, again, this is all just a bunch of thoughts that are just kind of floating through my head. You know, maybe like with my athletics,
Yeah.
you know, I just kept fucking recreating myself. Same kind of concept.
Yeah.
Just different costume, if you will.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right. Actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
so,
you
know, I've kind of gone from like with helping people in the beginning. What I did was I, you know, helped primarily with exercise and diet. Right.
Yeah.
Then it went into more, you know,
Habits.
mentoring and more mental stuff and habit development, all that. So it became less about the skin and more beneath the skin, you know, which was really exciting and fun and fulfilling. I don't know. Maybe there's another fucking pivot to this. I don't know.
What's up, Christopher Martin?
What's up, baby? What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? How are you?
We're talking a little loss this morning, but we're also talking this, Christopher.
Let's fucking go. Yeah.
I got in at 1:30 last night, Chris. Marty, I went to bed at 2. Alarm went off at 4. Got after. I went to the gym today, and I'm here this morning with us. But BZ led his team. I was telling Johnny to kick the show off. After the first period, we were winning 2-0. We were already counting the checks. By the third period, they were going into overtime. And our boys won it in overtime. And I'm like, holy fuck, man, we got to go to overtime. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I still got a 2.5 hour drive ahead of me. So yeah, they won in overtime. They won the championships. Now we go to the next regional championships next weekend. And if they win that one, Marty, they go to the nationals. So which represents Canada. So Captain Bilous is achieved some.
You know, on that level, just to point something out here for most people. So especially in actually at any level, but especially in high school, like you guys answer this, I'll answer myself. I didn't personally know anyone who even competed in a national championship at a high school level. State level was the highest that I ever saw. Anybody that I knew personally go. So the fact that your boy is en route to compete at a national level is just that alone puts him in an extraordinarily small school of people.
Yeah, and thanks for saying that, John. It's funny because I had a father say that last thing to me last night. He's like, Keith, he's like, Carter's won a championship before. I said, yeah, his first year here on this team, he was fortunate to win as a rookie. Now he's going to have a chance to win it again as the captain leading the team. And it's like, man, a lot of kids don't even have a chance to win one, let alone your boy's going to get a chance to win 2. And to your point, Johnny, he might be on the way to the national. So yeah, he's put the work in but he's put the work in. It doesn't happen by accident, Marty.
I'm gonna add in too, the older you get and the more you climb up, the smaller that percentage gets. So basically, the more elite you become, you know? So a lot of people, you know, they get pissed off with me and stuff that I say. They'll be like, well, you didn't make it to the NBA. I'm like, listen, you know how many people get Division I scholarships? And do you know how hard it is to get a Division I scholarship? Yeah. You know?
What's the statistic? I remember my buddy Alex told me, the guy that we had on the show.
I think it's 1% of high school.
It's like 1 in X amount of millions. It's a shitload.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like lottery ticket stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Carter's just becoming more elite as he moves up. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Well, you know, on that level, it's a very good point, Martin. Forget what I said about high school. For anybody listening, just think, how many people have you ever met in person that's been a national championship? That's been a national champion.
Yeah.
Most people have probably never shaken the hand of a national champion, no matter what he did. It was 11 or 21.
Well, there you go. Right. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
But funny side note. So check this out. You guys know that I was traveling for almost a week.
Yeah.
And we chose a drove so we could go off to some really cool little remote spots. And we, obviously stopped at a lot of gas stations, whether it be for me to take a piss or get something to drink, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I've definitely had, it's not just a theory of the guy that walks up to the counter with a regular Coke, buys a pack of cigarettes, and gets some lottery tickets. This is not just.
I told you a couple weeks ago.
It's not just a theory. This happens very regularly, and the worst part about it is these motherfuckers. They'll have their Coke, sometimes a can, sometimes a 2-liter regular Coke. They'll get their cigarette of choice, and then they'll sit there, and they'll have like a 2 or 3 minute decision making process on which fucking lottery ticket they want, as if they're gonna fucking make the choice to win.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's crazy. then I'm behind them. I'm sure they look at Johnny like he's crazy because they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, oh, you just getting water. You must work out. You look like you work out.
No, dude, the look on my face when I was observing this, they thought that I was in love or something. I was like, this is like a case study. I need to observe every little movement of these.
I see it all the time.
It's funny we're talking about this.
Real quick. I'm sorry, Keith. I'm sorry. Did I tell you about the time the guy asked me to buy him some cigarettes? Did I tell you about that?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, he asked me to buy him some cigarettes. I said, no, I'll get you a drink. Bought him a drink. I pull off. He tries to return the drink for some cigarettes. It's crazy. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry, Keith.
No, I'm staying on the same theme, Marty. I went to the gas station a couple days ago I don't know what it was, to grab something, and I go grab a drink. Well, it took me 8 minutes to grab the drink because the lady in front of the line in front of me was cashing all of her lottery tickets that she had bought. You know, when somebody goes in and buys a strip for the office or for the family or for the company, and then they stand there and they go, okay, I want to buy this one. And they look there and they buy that one. Okay, I want to cash this one in for $20. And I got to put this one in this envelope.
It's crazy, man.
That whole experience. I'm telling you. Yep, that's exactly how it goes. That whole thing. Hey, guys,
we live in a whole different world than people like that, man.
Yeah, completely different world. Completely different world. Hey, boys, I got something kind of funny I want to throw out here for both you guys. I've been holding on to this one for a little bit, but I'm kind of curious to get you guys' personal opinion on this. But yeah, have you ever wondered if zapping your muscles can truly boost your strength? You guys talked about EMS or done studying around EMS. Today, I want to dive into electrical muscle stimulation, or EMS, and uncover whether this buzzy trend is a real game changer or just another fitness fad. And guys, recent studies have illuminated some impressive results. Combining EMS with traditional weightlifting can engage muscle fibers, especially the fast twitch fibers crucial for strength and explosive power, in regular ways that training might miss. Before we go any further, good morning, Speakers Collaborative. I see you there, Cody. Good to have you on the show here, brother. Good to have you drop in. Are you guys familiar with EMS? Have you played with EMS? You talked about EMS, or are you like, what the fuck is EMS? John and Marty.
You know, when it comes down to it, there's been so many things like this come and go. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's not. They test a lot of this shit. Not saying there's not some little bit of value to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're a physical therapist and you have a reason to put it on somebody that can't walk or can't do what, I get it. Right. But if you're talking about a guy who's like, I'm going to buy this new gadget and I'm going to put it on and I'm going to build my calves when I'm watching fucking Jeopardy. Come on. Let's think this through a little deeper, because if that was the case, everybody be good at fucking Jeopardy and have big calves, because everybody would be fucking doing it, and that's not the case.
Well, it's funny because Cody comes in. Cody, good time jumping into the conversation, man. I have an EMS unit and I love it, but I haven't used it for gain. It's usually to address aches and pains. So, Johnny, that's exactly your point, right? So, if you're sitting there to use it to help yourself with aching muscles and so forth, it's one thing. But here's the thing. This study said that these participants had a 30% greater strength gain compared to participants following a 12-week EMS.
Brother, who are the fucking participants?
Well, that was my curiosity, and I couldn't find those answers.
Almighty. If these motherfuckers are sitting on the fucking couch eating Cheetos, of course they're going to have some. You're not giving that thing. You're not giving that to any of us and expecting there's a noticeable.
That's why I wanted to run this one, because I knew you guys were going to have an opinion on it, because the study didn't give me any information on the participants or how big the sample was, but it talks about that the participants experienced significant muscle growth, but there were also potential boosts in metabolic benefits. What I don't like about this is it's continuing with this shortcut mentality.
Yeah.
Right. And we've talked often on the show about the GLP drugs and so forth, and that's fine. People make their choices, but it doesn't teach habits. It teaches shortcuts. And I think that's really the downfall that we all have with that whole thing, right? So
yeah, we live in an instant society. Everybody wants some microwave type of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of microwaves, yes, you're absolutely right. The one thing's instantly, Marty.
Yeah. What was I about to say? I've done STEM for injuries. Is that similar?
I don't know.
It's more. I mean, granted, it's more of a rehab thing, brother.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah.
Like, for example, you got a fucking sprained ankle. You need some blood flow in there, but you can't put weight in the ankle. That's a purpose. It's serving a purpose.
And then you got Jeremy Cunningham coming in with a comment. EMS, and I agree with you, Cunningham. EMS makes me think of those old belt shaking machines. Like on late night TV, you turn it on, you see some woman or some man standing there, their fucking belly's just flapping away with the belt on.
Worst machine ever.
We're convinced that they're losing weight.
I need to do a video on that.
It might be hard to find an actual video of somebody using one of those. Those things are old as the hills.
They are old, yeah.
Yeah, maybe they died off with Suzanne Summers, Johnny. Maybe that's
my grandma had one. I remember. She used to stand there and the little fucking things to do and the belt to be shaking her,
Marty, let's do the fit tip. Then I want to come back and get into the deep dive. I want to get into a little bit of a serious conversation with you guys in a few moments here. Marty, let's do the fit tip, brother.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
All right. Fit tip is a little different today. This has been a busy morning, but I wanted to talk about this. So I've heard Johnny and Keith always talk about farmer walks on this show, and never wanted to do it until I started training for this High Rocks race where I have to do farmer walks for 100 yards, 120 yards, something crazy like that. So I've been training for it and doing it. It's probably the most underrated exercise I've ever done in my life. So if you don't have it in your training program, I recommend it for you. Not only is it working your cardiovascular, right? You're working on your endurance, but that grip strength is underrated. Forearms, fingers, biceps, and even shoulders, right? So this is something I'm going to add into my training from here on out, just to give my body a different type of shock. So if you want to add something that's not boring, something that's going to challenge you, something that's active, add some farmer walks into your workout and let us know how they go. That's the fitness tip for today.
What I love about that one is it's functional, right? It's just you can pick up anything heavy, you just walk around with it. You don't actually have to go to the gym for it. And when you're picking up your grandchildren or your kids as you get older in life, those farmer walks you're doing right now, such benefit, aren't they?
Absolutely, man. So I'm looking forward to the benefit. We'll see. See what else I can pick up.
I know when I was training with AJ there at the gym and he had me doing farm walks and I sometimes do them around the house here. I love them too. I full body, core, arms, the whole thing. It gets your body so engaged, doesn't it?
Yeah, I have made my clients do them today. That's how much I love them now.
Awesome. All right, listen, let's get into the deep dive. Today's show is really about 3 diet changes that I made that boosted my career success. And Jimmy,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but before we leave this topic, so the farmer's walk, if you guys want to really take this to the next level, here's what you do, Mark. Give this a crack. So obviously talk about the grip strength. Yeah. So what you want to do is, and you can do this all different weights, but you take a set of wraps, right? Straps.
Yeah.
The
wrist wraps.
Yeah, the ones that help you with the grip, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not wrist support. But it's the little part that goes in and wraps around your hand you hold.
Yep.
Okay, so take your farmer walk, and you're going to go as far as you can until your grip fails. your grip will fail usually before the rest of your body. Then you're going to basically, without the strap, then you basically just have the strap kind of just loose hanging, then strap in and keep going. Because what happens is if you let the weakest link be your limiting factor, you won't be able to push yourself as far. The grip is almost always the limiting factor. So strap in, keep fucking going. And if you really want to push it, you literally just almost, it turns into like your body starts to react much like a person doing a 400-meter dash that's never done it before. They're sprinting and all of a sudden it just turns into slow motion. And that slow motion turns into the legs not working and they usually fall down. Mm-hmm. That's the progression it'll take you through if you push it all the way. Now, that being said, if you're going to do those, you got to limit that to max once a week because that will tag your essential.
That's going to kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great tip, Marty, right? Because, your grip strength is going to fail. Grab those straps.
Almost always the limiting factor.
Yeah.
Okay? Every once in a while, you'll get some guy who's been working with his hands and his grip won't be the limiting factor, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Well, guys, let's get into the deep dive topic here today. It is 3 diet changes I made that boosted my career success. And guys, Jimmy, here's our hook for today's show, for today's topic. Believe it or not, the foods you eat directly impact your performance, not just physically, but professionally and mentally too. And guys, I've always believed that optimizing health and wellness is key to excelling in any career. And as I started down like this business athlete mentality when I met AJ, I started taking my diet, and I hate the word, but my food, the intake, seriously. I noticed immediate changes in my productivity, my energy levels, and overall success. In the next couple of minutes here, I want to share with you guys 3 significant changes that transformed my career. Notice I didn't say my body, my career. Guys, the first thing I did was I made a big switch to more of a whole ingredient foods lifestyle with an 80-20 type rule, right? I discovered the beauty of whole ingredient foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and I largely ate a lot of that, but I focused as much as I possibly could on those nutrient-dense foods, not only fueled my body, but sharpened my mental clarity and boosted my energy levels dramatically. And like Marty talks about it all the time, and adopting that 80-20 rule allowed me to stick to those wholesome, nutritious choices 80% of the time, leaving 20% for some flexibility and those occasional indulgences, right? And that balance prevented burnout and helped me stay consistent without me feeling deprived. And if there's one thing that I we had a video we were going to drop this morning that Marty dropped, and we'll probably drop it tomorrow. Gary Vaynerchuk dropped something about how we all want to process, social media, or process just life. You got to find something that works for you, right? Got to find what works for Johnny, what works for Marty, what works for, there's principles that work for all of us, but you got to find something that works for you. The second thing, guys, that was a game changer for my career was I amped up my hydration. Sounds simple, but hydration was a total game changer. I knocked out all the Coke Zero out of my life and pivoted to water, right? I dabble in the Coke Zero again today, but I got
you had regular Coke.
I don't drink regular Coke, brother. No, I drink zero. I can't drink that sugar shit. I hate just the idea of drinking sugar calories.
Just messing with you.
I know you are. And before prioritizing hydration, I often found myself sluggish, mentally foggy, right? So Johnny wins, but it worked for me. And I still try to, weave it into my life as much as fast.
Right back.
Yeah, go for it. This is the idea of intermittent fasting, right? And listening to my body. That key one was a big thing for me too. Learning to recognize how my body feels during fasting periods gave me that newfound control over my energy and focus. I found myself when I was eating too early in the day or eating carbohydrates early in the day, it didn't provide the clarity that I enjoyed. So again, I found something that worked for me. And by fasting, I became more in tune with my body's signals. And I learned when I genuinely needed nourishment versus when I was eating out of habit or boredom, right? And that self-awareness created that positivity and influenced not only my eating habits, but my decision-making skills and the emotional intelligence along the way. So guys, it was integrating these 3 strategies that really has been a transformation for me, not only in my lifestyle, but also in my career. So guys, I would invite you, when you're thinking about your work and when you're thinking about yourself, don't necessarily think that, how we're eating has always got to be how we're looking in the mirror. It's going to help you perform at work as well, right? And that was really what I wanted to get across today, was that these food changes had a massive impact on my performance at work, as much as it had on the impact with my own head in the mirror and as much as myself in the gym as well. Johnny, comment on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think people tend to not understand that I guess, however you did phrase it to have it hit home with you as an individual, yes. But one that helps me is what I eat literally becomes my flesh.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm eating, a bunch of junk, if I'm eating chemicals, if I'm eating colors, if I'm eating things that aren't nutritious, then I'm creating flesh that I don't want.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. Actually, that's a very philosophical way to look at it in many ways. Actually,
I mean, literally, what you eat will become a piece of you, whether you fucking like it or not. It will actually, whatever you put in your fucking mouth enters through your stomach, in your bloodstream, into your cells.
Yeah. Marty, when you hear my chat about, changing nutritional habits for career influence instead of bodily influence or aesthetic influence, what's your point of view on that?
I think all of us want to be, go ahead. What were you about to ask something else?
Is it talked about enough? Because often somebody comes to you and says, hey, Marty, I want to get a six-pack or I need to go on vacation. Maybe the question you as a trainer might want to ask me is, hey, how's work going for you, Keith? Oh, it sucks. Oh, maybe what I can help you do is perform better in the gym and in your lifestyle so you can be better performing at work. You know what I'm trying to say, Marty?
Absolutely. I got a great example for you.
Yeah.
It's not to toot my own horn, but sometimes, Johnny, sometimes you got to toot your own horn,
Toot your own horn, brother. Yeah. If you don't know who else is going to.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the gym I manage, right? I'm there working out every day. And the first thing the members say is, you're the first manager to work out. Like, it's very refreshing to see a manager work out consistently, right? And so it's crazy. I know, Johnny. Hold on, Johnny. Let me get through this. It's gonna be quick. So, and at the same time, staff members tell me, oh, this former manager, he used to be stressed at this, and you don't even care. He used to be mad at this, you don't even care. You just handle it. Anytime this happens, you just handle it. And I credit that to the way I fuel myself as well, right? It definitely helps with your problem solving. It helps with how you react to things. Well, respond to things, not react to things. And so definitely it's going to enhance your performance. So if you're killing it at work and you're eating trash, you're doing 5-hour energy, Red Bull, Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Popeyes, Buffalo Wild Wings, the list continues. I strongly advise you to change your diet and see how your performance responds to that. Go ahead, Johnny.
Dude, all that shit that you just described, that was how that's part of how I used to self-sabotage. So when I would be doing something when I was younger, I didn't have a fucking really good grip on, it could be, who knows what it would be. Stress levels would get too high. I would run for comfort, usually food. And now all the shit that you just described is the shit that a person that really understands how feeling good is, when you say all that stuff, it just immediately reminds me of feeling poorly, but not just physically. It's physical, mental, emotional. Yeah. And so I guess I just hear that, and I wish that people could I wish there was a button that we could push, and everybody on the planet that wanted to experience feeling good could feel good. Okay, now you feel this. Now let's talk about the things that you have to do to maintain this. And all the shit that you just mentioned is not on that list.
It's true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, here's what we're going to do. We got Fit Presenter coming with a comment. Short-term fixes get you through the workday. Yep. Or get you through the weekend in Mexico, Marty. Hey, I got to get my six-pack, or I got to get my wedding dress on. But when you work at a desk all day, soft drinks and chocolate bars are nutrition unless you reprogram yourself. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. Well, because you get conditioned to that, right? I think that's kind of what happens, right? You get conditioned to it. So, all right, listen, let's get to the lifestyle tip. Johnny, I know you got something in your brain. Why don't you drop it for us? And then when we come back, I want to talk no regrets for a quick moment before we bring AJ in. Marty and I addressed this yesterday on the show about no regrets in June. Johnny, let's do it, brother.
Some days are easier than others, but the ones that are more challenging, you just have to realize is part of life. Now, me personally, I have a routine on a daily basis that I use to help me get through those challenging days. Sometimes we don't even know what the challenges are. Sometimes we know what they are very clearly, but we have to remember life is difficult. If for a moment you think life is not difficult, you're fooling yourself. Doesn't make a difference whether you're highly successful or you're working on being successful or whatever it is. Shit, life is difficult when we're kids. And we think, oh man, just think when I'm in high school, how much easier it's going to get this difficult in high school. I think, oh, when we get to be adult, the problems are just, they're basically connected to the part of your life. But just realize this, life is a challenge. It's okay. The key is to just keep moving forward. Because every time you run into a challenge or a sticky spot in your life and you choose to disengage or you choose to run, guess what? That motherfucker ain't going anywhere. It's waiting for you when you come back. So just remember, just keep moving forward, one step in front of the next. But one of the things that really helps me is to remind myself is life is not easy, but it's okay. Keep moving forward. Rock and roll.
Well, that's the message from Jon Andersen this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. We've got AJ Zeglin joining us here in a quick second. A little different show today, guys, who tune in regularly. Just bringing a little bit of different energy. Old Uncle Keith here only had a couple hours of sleep. Johnny's carrying some weight this morning. Marty's got a busy morning. So, but you know what I love about it, guys? That's the point of this show. We're still all here, right? And life doesn't always deal you what you think you had. Right. So we get after no matter what here. But guys, before we move too further along here, I got something quick I want to throw on the table for all of you guys right now. Keith and Marty talked about it yesterday, and it goes like this. Think about it, guys. Look at the calendar. It's late March. April's right around the corner. Before you know it, June is going to be here. And I know you guys are thinking about this right now. It's a sunny June morning. You're going to glance at the mirror, your business balance sheet, your life goals, and perhaps that big decision you've been delaying. And what's going to happen, guys, you're going to get into the closet in June, you're going to put those swim trunks on or those shorts on, and you're going to be fat. Yeah, true story. You're going to go, what the fuck, man? Because you know what? You didn't make the decision today. So I'm telling you right now, guys, you have a chance to change June. You have a chance to put those jeans on, that t-shirt on, that jacket on, those swim trunks on that makes you feel good about yourself. You have a chance to hit those second quarter goals by June because you're going to wake up in June with regret if you don't start today. Regret for not starting sooner. Regret for promises not kept. Regret for another season wasted. But guess what? Today's that chance to rewrite the story. So Keith and Marty, you put a plan together yesterday, Johnny. Introducing the No Regret Plan from Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. True story. We're offering an exclusive, powerful, actionable 2-month coaching experience for those that want to commit and transform by June 1st. Yep. Here's what you're going to get. Fitness plan from us, lifestyle and business plan from us, daily accountability plan from us, expert coaching from the crew. You guys will invest $5,000 to 2 months for yourselves. You're going to change your life. So you guys can sit back and be fat in June, or you can make a change right now. Don't let June sneak up on you filled with regret, because I'm telling you guys, you know it's coming. You're going to get into the mirror in June. You're going to go, oh, fuck, I heard what Bilous says. I didn't do nothing about it. You're going to look at your balance sheet and you're going to go, oh, man, we didn't make those changes that we talked about in March or April. No, true story. So take control today and step confidently into that next quarter and into summer working with us here at Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. And we're not just going to open unlimited spots to everybody. So if you guys are serious about getting your life in gear, like true story, come knock on my door, man. Come knock on Marty's door, Johnny's door, AJ's door. We can help you. We're going to be here. So there you go. There's a no regret plan. Quick comments on that, boys, before we get after it with AJ. It's true, man, because June's going to come. A lot of guys are going to go, oh, man, I'm feeling fat. Yeah, well.
Hey, man.
I think the idea would be to make this the last June that you could possibly ever have that feeling.
Yes, exactly, Johnny. Exactly. Right.
It's not just this June, because June's coming again next year.
Yes.
Are you going to play this fucking game all over again every fucking year?
Yes. Well, and that's exactly the point. And that's why Marty and I were laughing yesterday, because we know there's people looking at the calendar and they're looking at the summer, and then all of a sudden June's going to show up and then I go, oh man. Marty,
I got a secret for everybody. I got a little secret for everybody here.
Yeah.
For all of you guys that are thinking, man, you know, I've tried this before. It's difficult. Here's the secret. It's only fucking difficult because the people around you have convinced you it's difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Replace the people.
You find people that do this shit all the time. It's not difficult.
Absolutely.
That's exactly it.
Hey, and just, I'll say too, and just start. Like, stop talking about it. Stop thinking about it. This is your opportunity. Just start, right? The only thing that's doing the thing is doing the thing, you know? Talking about doing it is not actually doing it. Planning out doing it, looking at your calendar and being like, oh, I'm starting next week or next month or whatever I start. That's not doing it. You know what I mean? Talking, none of that stuff is actually doing it. Just do it. Just start. You want to start? Let's go. Reach out, contact, and let's go. Let's start. You can start today. You can start tomorrow. Start whenever, you know, just.
Well, and that's so key, brother, because how many times it's even happened to us at different points, I'm sure, but it happens to most people all the time. Yeah, I'm going to just start Monday. No.
Yeah.
It's a behavior pattern. That behavior pattern will exist. It just changes names. Start Monday, start tomorrow, start whatever. When you really want to do something, you realize there's no time to wait. You don't want to wait. You don't need to tell anybody. You just want to take the first step. So if you find yourself running around telling everybody you're going to start Monday, catch yourself and realize this is the same dumb shit you've been doing your whole fucking life.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Marty.
I was just gonna say, you find yourself making excuses, you know, just dumbass excuses. Well, you know, I'm a dad now, so you know, I'm going to be shaped like a dad. What the hell is shaped like a dad, right? Yeah, I'm not an athlete anymore. Okay, no, you still need to look at yourself as an athlete and treat yourself as an athlete. So it all comes down to a mindset shift as well.
So, you open the door, Marty. I'm going to walk through it. I was observing. What the hell? Zagging with shaking, brother. I was observing couples last night at the arena, and I was thinking in my head, how many couples aren't having sex? Because I'm looking around and I'm going, no, I don't think he's attracted to her. No, I don't think she's attracted to him. No, I don't think they're having much intimate relations, as I'll use that term right now as an old man. And
you know what, Keith?
Because I just saw a lot of people just let themselves go. You know what I'm saying, AJ Zeglin? You know exactly what I'm saying, AJ Zeglin. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be negative, Nanny. I'm just purely being an observer.
No, I get it. And hey, I mean, I think, you know, there's this misconception that people like to say that something like that would be shallow just because it's easier than them actually putting in the work. Right.
Yes.
And that's the easier thing to say. And I'm like, you know, both things can be true. Like, I can prioritize how I look. I could want to look good for my partner. I actually feel that I have a responsibility to my wife to try and stay in good shape and take care of myself.
Yes.
And just because I do that, that doesn't mean that the relationship is shallow. You can do those things and still have a very great, deep, meaningful relationship. If anything, I feel it shows a certain amount of respect that I bring to the relationship and that I have for my partner, right? That I want to take care of myself and be a good individual, both physically, mentally, emotionally, for her, right?
Because I'm glad you said that, the shallow part, because I wonder if people are afraid to talk about whether they're still physically attracted to their other partner, whether it's female or male. And like I said, I just was observing, and you can just observe how people hang out, spend time together, who sits together with who, and just physical mannerisms. And I wasn't seeing a lot of love within couples last night. It was just, I don't know, it was just kind of.
Well, then there's the you obviously saw what you saw, but I'm not sure exactly what you saw. But then as the sliding away from thinking they're having sex. Then it goes to, which is always kind of interesting to me. I always think, how do they do it? He's got to lift that up. She's got to move that out of the way.
Yeah.
Just for this to fucking physically have a possibility. Man alive. How? And I had a buddy of mine. I was actually started off as a client, but he became a buddy, and he was, the tale of a really well-off dude, great family, but it just let himself go. Like he was 450 pounds and blah, blah, blah. So as we got to know each other better, I was like, dude, I'm not even going to use his first name to pretend innocent.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm like, listen, okay, this is just man to man. You got to tell me, how does it work? You haven't seen it in fucking 10 years. How do you put it in?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I have to lay on my back and I got to, pull this way. And she's got to kind of do this. And I'm just like, Christ almighty, holy shit. I guess it really does work somehow. But just, you think to yourself, when life gets that far away from you, it's time to be honest with yourself.
Well, and go ahead, Marty. Yeah.
Can I ask something real quick? Because I got to go.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Not trying to be the shallow asshole on the podcast, right? Personally, I know I'm not married yet, but I don't want my woman looking and going, oh, wow, I wish Chris looked like that. I wish he looked like that. Or somebody walks by and they just like, I know I'm not going to be the best looking guy on earth always.
Bro, that's not shallow. That's just fucking self-respect.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I don't want that to happen. And as a man, we're even more visual, right? And I tell my ladies this all the time, my clients. You don't want your guy looking at you like, damn, I got to come home and I can't even get it. I can't even get my erection. Looking at her.
Well, that's when you got to look at your wife and say, listen, my shit doesn't even bend. You think I'm going to get that shape? You're crazy.
No, really. It's the truth.
Well, that's what he'll put that on. Look, my shit doesn't even bend. We were talking about flaccid dicks.
Yeah.
So a guy that's got a fucking diamond cutter usually has got himself in pretty good shape.
And then they'll tell me, well, if he loves me, he'll get it up. I'm like, that's not how this works.
No.
Right? It doesn't mean he don't love you, but it ain't getting up.
He's got to take care of him. You don't get a diamond cutter for free. You got to pay for that cutter, and that cutter comes with a lot of exercise, a lot of good food, a lot of sleep, and even probably a little bit of mental focus.
Well, what I found, and Marty, quickly before you go, what I found it's confusing, just life itself, but society has reserved all of this for our 20 and 30-year-old brethren. When it's like, wait a minute, why can't we still not be shallow when we're 40 or 50? You know what I'm trying? I saw you nodding there. You know what I'm trying to say, AJ? Like, why can't we continue that as we get 40, 50, 60, 70, AJ? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it should still be prioritized, right? Like I feel like for some reason we go away with it or we move away from it and we kind of make excuses and feel like, oh, well, I'm this now. I can just stop taking care of myself or I can just whatever. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah, it still matters. Like it still matters how you treat yourself, how you take care of yourself. And how you do that with your own relationship with yourself and how that also affects the relationship you have with your partner. Like those things still matter. And we do so much work trying to convince ourselves that they don't matter, but everyone that's not taking care of themselves, they get up and they look in the mirror and they feel like deep down, they know, like, I'm not taking care of myself. I feel like shit. I feel like I look like shit. And I'm not taking care of myself, and I know I can do better. And then that moment comes where you got to just make that decision. I'm either going to take this step here and start doing the work, or I can take the easy way out and instead just try to convince myself with mental gymnastics that this isn't actually important anymore. When deep down, you know that it is. You know that it is. Everyone knows that it is. And it's just, and you put so much effort into fighting it. It's like, hey, just accept it. Acknowledge that it's important to you and start putting the work in. And
to your comment there, that's what I felt like I saw a lot of yesterday, was a lot of that. All right, I guess this is what I am now.
Yeah,
throw the towel in.
I'm the dad bod. You know what? Like,
go get me another fucking beer and a nacho with extra fucking cheese.
And people always say to me too, they'd be like, "Well, wait till you're 50 or 60."
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm working now, so I don't end up like your 50, 60-year-old ass. That's why.
Marty, that's the last word to you on this one, brother. You get out of here. Go take care of your business today, pal.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, fellas, I'll see you, man.
All right.
Nice to see you, Marty.
Have a good day.
Get out of here. Hey, as we're resetting the show here, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Just kind of what's this kind of show is like a throw it in the blender show here today. We just talked about a bunch of things. AJ, we kicked off Carter 1 last night, brother.
I saw that in OT.
In OT, fuck, man, it was 2-0 going into the end of the first period. We were already cashing the checks. I'm thinking, hey, good, I'm going to get home in good time. Right. Well, third period, we go to overtime, and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm not getting home in good time. Got home at 1:30, was in bed by 2, was up at 4 for today's show. So,
oh my goodness, okay, yeah.
But we won. If we would have lost, it would have been a miserable son of a bitch right now. So we won, and that's what it's all about, right? So
absolutely, man.
I was excited to share with you today because a week ago you got to share your experience with Boston, right? So
no, absolutely, yeah. I was scoreboard watching yesterday on my phone. I was checking the score on the game, and when it went into OT, I was like, oh man, this got to be feeling some excitement down there in Brandon right now. And then obviously when you guys won, it's just super happy.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So we're off to the regionals in Kenora, and then ideally, if they do that, they're off to the nationals, wherever the nationals are this year. So
right.
Yeah. And then Johnny, AJ, do you got a couple minutes to stick around here? Do you got to rock and roll?
Yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go back, Johnny. Let's go back to the start of the show, pal. If you don't mind, I'd like to actually, Johnny.
No, brother, I'm gonna be working on this shit.
I know
all day today, and however many days it takes me to get through it. So conversations are part of the process. And
we have an expert. This is what this guy does for a living, outside training athletes and training good humans and so forth. This guy's a mental performance human. AJ, Johnny went through some loss, as you know, here in the last few weeks. His siblings' son passed, and as Johnny said to me, the lifestyle I've chosen has been a life where people that I've dealt with death frequently.
Right.
This one is struggling processing. And I wanted to continue the chat today because men, and a lot of men, don't know how to process this. Don't know how to process death. Don't know how to process a change of routine when something so magnanimous comes through our life and we have to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, it's difficult, right? And there's no we've talked about this before in with a different situation, but when we're dealing with grief, when we're dealing with loss, right? We talked about that analogy of the what I call the box analogy, right? Yeah. So there's that button that's on the wall in the box, and you got that little ball bouncing around the box, and it's going to push that button, and it's always there, right? And the grief that we have from the loss of losing someone that's important to us never actually goes away. That button's always on the wall forever. For the rest of our lives, that button is on the wall, and it will get pushed. Our goal or our objective is try to increase the size of that box so the button gets pushed less frequently, right? And time that goes by naturally increases the size of the box. Having the ability to have some supports in place, like, having a good partner or having good family and friends that you can talk about things with. So it's not just all internal and you're able to get some of it out. And that helps our brain process stuff, right? Traumatic events, it helps our brain process loss and grief. That helps increase the size of the box a little bit, right? So there are definitely tools in there that we can utilize to help process that. But that button's always there. It'll be there for the rest of your life, right? And it will get pushed from time to time, and hopefully it gets pushed less and less, as time goes on, and you're able to utilize some of those tools. But it's always there, and we talk about perspective a lot on this show. I think if we're able to reframe that in a positive way, the best we can too, we kind of realize that what a blessing it is to actually grieve something like that so passionately, because it means that we had the opportunity to have such a meaningful relationship with another human being. What an opportunity that is in life, that we have those connections, without, and unfortunately, like most things in life, there's two sides to the coin, and one can't really exist without the other. Right. Yes. So if we want to experience these meaningful, powerful relationships that really enrich and bring value to our life,
the flip side of that is the loss of that.
There's going to be a flip side of that. But when we look at that loss, it's evidence. It's evidence that happened. It's evidence that existed. And without it, if we never had that grief, we probably would have had an empty life with no meaningful relationships, right? And that's probably a worse existence, right? I would argue that's a worse existence. It's a much better existence to have that meaningful relationships and experience that loss and that grief.
And Johnny, what a wonderful perspective.
Yeah, I remember AJ talking about the box and the button, and I think because this happened, it was
4 months ago, wasn't it?
And no, it wasn't quite that long ago, but it was a while ago. It happened. I don't remember, but it wasn't like it just happened. It was just the service that just happened. But so I feel like that original button, AJ, that you spoke of was, and for the most part, I'm pretty good at letting myself feel, because I know that when I don't, it kind of takes, I don't know, I guess I'm fairly good at letting things hit me and getting through them,
right.
But I guess where I'm right now is that first button has been pushed. I've gone through some bit of grieving. Of course, there's always grieving that goes on with something like this. But I think the interesting thing right now is I think with where I'm going through is like for me, I guess you say there's another button that get pushed in that box. And that second button it's like prompting me to, I call it evolve, call it change, call it whatever. It's like these different things come along and they prompt me to do something differently.
Right.
Sometimes little, sometimes a lot. And I think that's kind of where I am right now. I'm of course the first button is still, of course that sucker never goes away, but I guess I'm just kind of struggling with the fact that I'm feeling like there's something supposed to happen. Like there's like some sort of a pivot. There's something that's like my interests at this moment are kind of stifled a little bit. Things that normally interest me are not interesting me, which is very understandable when you go through that initial shock of holy shit, Right. But now I don't know. I guess I'm feeling like I'm almost supposed to be like I'm being called to do something, if that makes sense. Something's supposed to, and I don't know if it's something little, something big. I just know that my attention is being put into places it normally is not.
Right. And you feel that's like a potential positive change, though?
Oh, I mean, 100%. I try to always spin these that, hey, this is not a, usually from something like that, if you have your shit straight, there's this good that's going to come from it. If you lived your life where every time something tragic happened, you went further down the negative spiral, shit, you'd be so far down there, you wouldn't have much of a life.
Right.
So I'm trying to, so I don't think it's a bad thing by any means. Different. Maybe scary, maybe all the above, but I'm just trying to figure out, what it is.
Do you have any ideas?
I kind of felt this whole thing. Like I've just noticed lately I've been a little more quiet. That's like Terry's noticed. I'm a little more quiet than normal. It's like and I'm trying not to make this thing where it's like I'm on this searching path, because obviously like if you lose something and you look too hard, sometimes you look right at it and you can't find it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to just listen to the signals and the directions that are coming in, and I don't know. It's just kind of a trip. I mean, I guess I've never been into, to a certain extent, I'm 53. I feel like I know myself better now than I ever have.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now I'm in this place where, fuck, man, maybe I don't really know, because, what I thought I knew, 10 days ago, is feeling a little bit less defined.
Right. So if you don't mind me asking, Jon, just like what parts of yourself do you find that you're questioning now?
Like I was really excited to get back. So we've been on the road for a week, which was a lot of fun. But I also, in that, my routine kind of takes a little bit of a hit. Nothing's quite as smooth. A lot of times I look forward to that, because sometimes that little bit of breaking it up actually kind of revives me a little bit.
Right.
Sometimes my routine can almost fucking create, it's so tight that it becomes almost like prison walls rather than some sort of a freedom scenario,
Right.
And so like, I was really looking forward to get back to my morning routine, getting back to things that I know that I kind of call it that I love, that center me. And all of a sudden it was like, I kind of looked at it like, whoa, this is kind of not what I remember it was, So I recognized that right away. And so I switched my morning routine to where I put like a big chunk of just straight up fucking meditation time, like right out of the gate. Like, okay, I just need to sit. I need to feel. I need to understand. And I haven't had any real time by myself to do it in the last week. So I sat there right out of the gate. I was in that chair shortly after 3, all the way till 4. And so I know that I guess that's kind of like the first step in some discovery, if you will.
Right.
So to answer your question, I guess it's just the things that normally float my boat or don't seem quite as like, normally it's going to be a good day. I think, shit, man, I'm going to go ride my motorcycle. That's going to be fun. I didn't really give 2 shits about that today.
Right.
I wonder, AJ, and just wonder aloud here. And again, I look back to you just through what your skills and what you do for a living, working with men and humans, is that so Jon hit a new age this year, hit 53. He's experienced some loss. It makes me wonder if this is almost like a natural life path for humanity, which is you start questioning mortality, start questioning purpose, start questioning, and there's probably a lot of normalcy in this, AJ. And just to add to that, what I'm admiring about this and why I encourage Jon to keep talking about it since we started the show was he had the awareness about it. Let's talk about it instead of putting it in a compartment and pretend it doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Absolutely. That awareness and just acknowledging what we're going through and what we're experiencing is obviously always the first step. How can you change anything or work through something, if you're not even aware that you're in it? Right. Yes. So the awareness is good. And you're right. There, generally, as people, as we age, we become almost hyper aware of our own mortality. Because there's a lot more examples traditionally as we age that remind us of it. Right. And that bring our attention to it. Right.
Yep.
There are tragedies for sure that happen when we're younger, and experiences that people have sometimes at a young age. But in general, as people age, they, and the longer you've been around and the higher you get up in age, you generally experience more loss, right? Yes. Been around for a longer time, and all of a sudden, there's more loss associated with people that or people that you've known that are older than you. And so we become just like very aware of our own mortality, right? The longer we're around, and it really shifts our perspective and our appreciation. And sometimes it can, make us feel like,
what's the point?
Am I doing the right things?
Yes.
I see where I'm at right now. Is this what I should be doing? Is this the right thing? Right. And
that's kind of the thing that I've been teetering on, and I don't know. So I try not to, it's not like I'm putting a stamp on this, but one of the things that keeps coming back around, especially in my morning, my meditation this morning, is maybe I'm supposed to be going in a deeper spiritual journey. Now, what is that? I don't fucking know, but I feel like, like for example, my routine, my training, there's so many things in my life up to this point that were really, really deeply rooted in who I am and my spirit and kind of clearing my mind and seeing things I want. I'm wondering, I feel like at this point that maybe this is kind of a calling for me to find a deeper kind of I don't know if it's an activity or maybe it's more meditation. Like I'm supposed to find a deeper part of me.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think that sounds great, right? There's only one way to find out, right?
That's one of the things I'm doing as of right now is, I mean, I can't sitting and thinking is great, but if you don't attach a little action to some of the thoughts, you never really figure it out. So basically as of today, I'm starting with 2 different meditation sessions. One that basically I'm calling 45 minutes, although they may go a little bit more. One right at the gate in the morning, and then one in, that kind of that late afternoon, early evening. And I feel like it's going to be like a help me discover, help me understand.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm actually excited about it for you. I think that's great. And I think it's great that so, I mean, there's an evolution that we're always constantly going through, right? And I think sometimes we do get attached to stuff like our routines and stuff, but those things should always evolve as well, right? We're in the gym with a workout plan. We're all not using the exact same workout plan for the last 10 years, right? As we expose ourselves to the stresses of that workout plan, our bodies have gone through adaptations and we've developed physically and mentally by that workout plan. And then we're like, hey, it's got to be changed up. The process of me working out isn't changing. I'm still committed to my workout plan, but I got different exercise selection, maybe different set rep schemes, different tempos, different, all these different variables that I can change that keep me progressing and feeling like I'm growing and making progress in my workout. So that same thing can be drawn right to how we eat. Like the same thing happens with our nutrition plan, and the same thing happens with the mental skills that we use to mentally, emotionally take care of ourselves in our daily routines. It's not like you're being like, routines are shit now, I don't need one, I just don't care. You're just like, hey, maybe the one that I was using, has to evolve with me.
I mean, 100%, brother. 100%.
Opportunity to grow and.
Yeah, I mean, I caught that. I wasn't even home, and I realized, okay, I need something's different here. I'm just altering my routine at this point just to give myself more time to understand. So I feel like I figure myself out a lot better. I mean, conversations are great, but when I quiet everything down and it's just me and my breath or me and my heartbeat, I feel like that's when the answers start showing up, when I truthfully don't even know what the fucking questions are.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. And that speaks very highly of the relationship that you have with yourself, right? So when you have that time to be quiet and sit with yourself, you sit in with your thoughts and with your breath and hang out there, you probably find solitude, right? And in that solitude, you find answers and you find direction and ideas of where you want to go and things you want to do and maybe how you want to grow and develop as a person. And if we don't have that great relationship with ourselves, then when we find ourselves in that moment, we might not feel solitude, but we might feel something more in the lines of like loneliness, right? And then we feel like, now I'm lost and I feel lonely and I feel alone in this and I don't know this decision and I don't know where to go or what to do. But I think there's nothing wrong when we got that great relationship with ourselves and you're sitting there in solitude and you're like, and you recognize that, hey, this is a spot that I'm comfortable being in because I'm comfortable with myself and my thoughts and my ideas. And there's actually some curiosity here that's driving this on how I'm going to develop, right? And what's the next step in my routine? And here's an idea. Sweet, we got an idea to try. Like you said, you're starting it today. Then I would be like, I would encourage and be like, that's awesome, man. Let's try it and see how it goes. And along the way, you'll probably learn different things and slowly kind of develop your new routine through your experiences that you feel fits where you're at right now in life and how you want to grow and keep developing as a human.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think on that, one of the things I've been really keeping forefront in my mind is that, at 53, I got a pretty fucking strong sense of my identity as a human being.
Right.
And one of the things that I'm really fucking in before I really get deep in there, and even when I'm in there, I keep reminding myself that I need to be open to the fact that if there's some new direction here, if there's some new path, that it may compromise my identity of how I truly relate and see myself, but that's part of the growth factor, because when something comes along and takes your identity off balance, that can be pretty fucking freaky.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Part of this is that you've identified with Jon Andersen for 53 years. Now you're looking in the mirror going, is there a different version of me? Is this sadness of saying goodbye to that? Is this sadness of saying goodbye to some routines that I'm re-identifying the next chapter of my life? Does it make sense, AJ?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. It can be scary as shit, man, because you're exactly right. It just can, because you identify, and so to have some curiosity, to have obviously courage, and to just see it as an opportunity, right? And just to know that, hey, this opportunity to get better. And we see it a lot, we see it in, a lot of people that we really look up to as a society and stuff. We feel like do some of these things really well, and they've probably done it deeper on a personal level too. But even on the levels that we're able to see, when you look at someone like The Rock, or like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or people like that, look how many different iterations of themselves that they went through. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And always, right? Always changing. Always, you can go from the world's best bodybuilder to a movie star, to a life in politics, to a author and an advocate. Like, you know what I mean? And there's always just a reinvention. And to be able to do that, you also have to be able to let go. Like, imagine if The Rock was never able to let go of his identity as a football player.
Right.
And I'm positive if you talk to him in his most honest of answers, it's still probably somewhere deep down.
There's a piece of it in there for sure, but is it the forefront?
Yeah, right, exactly. And it still lives in him there. But if he wasn't able to let that go and be like, what's next for me? How do I attack the rest? How do I have that curiosity, that ability to develop and get better? Then we don't know The Rock, the wrestler. And then we don't know The Rock, the movie star. And we don't know, you know what I mean? So this idea of reinvention, again, is really how we frame a lot of things. But and it's the opportunity to really find out even more about ourselves. And multiple things can be true. We can be the football player and the movie star and the whatever, like he is. But you got to have that curiosity and that courage and that trust in yourself that you're going to be able to just take on this new experience and let go part of your own identity to be able to do it, and let go part of that ego to be able to do it, to really discover, your fullest potential. And, those examples are very much on the surface. Like, those are all, jobs and professions that we can see, but a lot of us will also go through that on a deeper level that you might not be able to see right off the surface. Right. You might go through some, kind of reinventions and some different iterations and kind of versions of yourself internally, emotionally, and mentally. And those same ideas of having that courage to be able to let that go. Because like you said, Keith, that could be super scary, because we just have identified of ourselves being some way so long, for so long.
And on that level, as I thought about that too, one of the things I realized, okay, let's strip it down, the me of me here. And if you go down to the basics, what am I? One of the things that I feel that I really identify with is my discipline. That's one of the things that is always going to come forward if I'm ever asked to talk about what makes me me, that's going to be coming out of my mouth, in the front end of what I'm going to say. And, doing difficult shit with discipline, obviously, that's what discipline's all about. So there's a part of me that's kind of feeling like maybe I'm being called to do some difficult shit. I've been given this gift, and now granted, I developed it, so it wasn't like just a gimme, but I've always been good at doing the shit that most people won't. well, fuck, am I supposed to be doing? It's like, is there some new chapter that I'm supposed to be figuring out here? Because it's the, when you have interest in what you're doing, it's really, really, I mean, it's like that when you have that interest or that passion or that purpose, that calling, whatever it is, and then sometimes that'll just shift a little bit. And that's the growth. That's the the human experience. And I think I'm kind of in that phase of like, God damn it, is there something that I'm supposed to be reattaching myself to? Is there a new venture in my life? Is there something? So it's a trippy, definitely a trippy thought process, because you're every time every time my mind kind of goes down a rabbit hole, let's say, of course, then there's all sorts of different thoughts and whatnot. What I'm realizing is when I let myself go down those rabbit holes, it's almost confusing. What I need to be doing is just waiting for the door of the rabbit hole to open itself to me, rather than just keep fucking opening doors and diving down, if that makes sense. And this is all kind of the way I view it in my mind.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it could be, obviously, there's a process involved in that, right? And obviously we won't know. There's no way ever that I could ever possibly know Jon Andersen better than you know yourself, right? You're the only expert on your own life. I could never be an expert on your life. Keith could never be an expert on your life, right? But what I can tell you is, just knowing the type of person you are, I'm actually excited to see, where this leads you. Like, I'm excited to see what type of opportunity this presents for you, right? Because I do know, even though I'm not an expert on you, I do know that your intention in it and where it's coming from is coming from a good place. It's coming from you realizing, like, hey, maybe there's more I could be doing. I'm really good at doing hard shit that people don't want to do. Is there a way I can use that to maybe help more people, or do something slightly different that brings more meaning or value to myself and people around me and stuff? So, like, the place where it's coming from is a good place, right? So, and I have no doubt that your intentions through the whole process are going to be good and positive, and trying to make a change, because trying to make a change in the goal of further bettering yourself, right? And so if that's the driving force behind it, if that's the curiosity behind it, I feel there's just a very high probability for positive outcomes, right? Because the person's heart's in the right place. They're doing it. They're not doing it because they're not doing it for any type of selfish reasons, right? They're not doing it because of any type of negative things attached to other things or people. Like, it's being done for, you're questioning these things from a very genuine place, right? And you're going through this, you're trying to process them and discover where you want to go next from a very genuine, like, heartfelt, meaningful place. And I feel like that's going to lead you in a good direction.
Yeah, I like that, AJ. And it's kind of a trip, because the part of me that knows me, that's like, I guess you'd say, probably because it feels safe. There's that part of me that just says, well, you just need to dive further into what you're doing.
Right.
But that's it, because that's the process that's gotten me where I am. But then you start to realize is, when I'm diving deeper in, if that's bringing me joy, if that's bringing me happiness, if it's adding quality to my life, that makes a lot of sense to keep diving deeper. Mm-hmm. And this one, it's almost like, I feel like, I have to kind of resist that feel to dive deeper, because it's almost a distraction, because I think that there's something else, there's something else here.
Yeah, because we're very, like, our mind, our brain is very attached to routine and patterns and familiarity, right? Yeah. Like, whatever's familiar or seems familiar, or what we perceive to be familiar, we're instantly attracted to it, right?
Yep.
And like most things, depending on how we use that, sometimes that's beneficial and can be positive, and other times it can be negative. You see people in a negative sense maybe getting caught in, like, abusive relationships, and we all sit there and we look at it and we're like, how could that person go back to that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. But what we don't aren't taking into account is it's that familiar, that situation is so familiar to them. The draw is just so powerful. It sucks you in, right? Even if we know that it's maybe not good for us, or even if we know, so obviously in this case, your situation is a little bit different, but you are right. There would be this very strong draw of doing what's familiar, and because it's worked for you and, it's been really successful. So man, that draw, it's like a magnet just drawing you in. But
like you did, like right this minute, like when we finish this show, I usually go right through that door and train. Right. And I'm questioning, is that what I need to do today? Not that I won't train today, but it's just like normally that's just, and it's that to me is familiar. It's like boom, 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 boom. So it's just such a trip to recognize how the brain works and try to put a little bit of a, I guess, just put a damper on it so you can actually see beneath what it just does the way it's programmed to do.
Yeah.
Well, you're questioning yourself at that point, Johnny. You're going, well, if I don't train, then who am I? What am I doing? Because that's what I've always talked about. That's what I've always.
Well, I mean, there's no, you can't remove training from my life. Largely, what capacity is the question?
That's what I mean.
That's part of. I mean, it's just part of me being me in terms of taking care of myself, happy, healthy, all the above. But yeah, your question of, is there a new spin on what I consider training? That very well could be part of this journey. I don't know.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I'm gonna wrap this up here. What a great conversation. AJ, thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy it worked out.
Because this is real life chat. Because there's many men, females that go through this, and which is largely, AJ, why you're employed, because they don't have a show to come on and talk about this out in the open. They're like, hey, can I come and have a chat with you and share with you what's going on in my head? Because I'm struggling with where I'm existing right now. And I guess in some ways, some people might call this, like, is it a quote unquote midlife crisis, right? Where you're struggling with where you exist and how you exist.
Right.
So really
no, absolutely. And if people are watching this show and wondering, we all have the capacity to help our friends through things, and our friends have different experiences, and what a great gift in life to be able to offer support to people that you care about, right? And I will say that one, people are always kind of wondering, like, hey, like, what does that look like? Like, how can I do that? And what I always tell people, it's okay to not have all the answers. It's actually okay to have zero answers. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times when I go in and I talk to people, both in my personal life and in my professional life when I'm working, I actually don't really have an answer for them at all.
No,
because like I told John, like, I don't know John as good as John knows himself, but I can sit there and I can, ask you lots of questions and show that I'm actively interested in, that I care, and just sit there with you in it. Even if John called me and was like, hey, I want to jump on a call with you. And we just sat there and didn't even say a word, but I just sat there with him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Having that ability to just be with someone while they're doing it, that's how you help.
Yes.
That's the gift. That's the support. And that's what it looks like. And that's how it's effective, right? It's okay not to have the answers. We don't. I work as a therapist. I don't really to happen. That's a very empowering thing for you to just sit there and be with them as they go through that process, right?
Yeah.
But you're not. That's all you're doing. You're just hanging out with them in it, right?
Yeah. AJ, appreciate you, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. Johnny, I know you got to rock and roll as well, and we're gonna keep rolling here too. Me and Jimmy are gonna close off with the community corner. AJ, anything happening today outside of the ordinary with you?
Outside the ordinary, no, I'm the same. But one little, we're getting ready here. We leave Saturday morning. We got a spring break trip to Canmore.
Nice.
We're driving out to Canmore on Saturday, so
nice.
We'll be out in the mountains and hopefully do a little skiing and hanging out and see the hot springs and some hiking.
Awesome.
and hanging out with the family out there. So we got something new coming up.
Beautiful.
A couple of days away from it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, you enjoy that. You enjoy your day, brother. I appreciate hanging out with us today. And Johnny, you take care of yourself, and let's stay in touch along the way. And you know how to get a hold of me, and you know where I am, you know where my ears are, and I always have time for you, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a day of self-discovery.
Yeah, good for you. And I think it's well deserved. I'm looking forward to some sleep. So, all right, boys, you guys have yourself a great, awesome day. Johnny, I'll see you in less than 24.
Yep.
100%.
AJ,
right.
Thank you, brother.
No, thank you guys. Yeah, thanks. Those whole conversations happen because somebody is willing to share.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that whole thing happens because John's willing to share with us what he's thinking about, right? And so the credit goes to John for doing that. That's not always easy to do. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Conversation is because it's like playing tennis. AJ hitting the ball back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So, all right, guys, have a good one, you boys. Love you both. Take care. Okay.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, Jimmy. Woo, baby. Hey, guys, heavy stuff, but real stuff. That's what we do here in the lab. Mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. The only morning show to help you guys get yourself going, help you achieve some big goals, maybe help you find your next self. Maybe help you dig deep. Maybe help you discover something that you don't know you have. Maybe help you discover what's next. Maybe help you get unstuck. These are the kind of conversations we have here in the lab with myself. I'm your host, Keith Bilous, Jon Andersen, Christopher Martin, AJ Zeglin, George Jansen, producer Jimmy in the back, Melissa in the back, Rahima in the back, making sure we bring this show to life. Okay, we're going to get after. We're going to keep going here, guys. The community corner, the creator spotlight. I got to admit, the show went much longer than I thought today. That's good. Necessary. All right. We hear about boys and men struggling everywhere. We just talked about it for the last little while. It's all over the news. Education gaps, mental health crisis, isolation, outdated expectations. But here's the thing. Most of those conversations only scratch the surface. The easy thing to do is to blame it on politics, blame it on culture, blame it on wars, blame it on changing time, blame it on everybody else but yourself. What they miss is the deeper truth. The systems built to help boys and men are outdated and they're failing. And while everyone argues about the symptoms, the root problems constantly just get ignored. They're like, not everyone's content to sit back and watch the conversation go nowhere. We got somebody here today. There's someone out there cutting through the noise. Someone who's not interested in playing the blame game. Blame. Someone who's actually putting in the work to address the real issues. His name coming up in a second. He's a writer. He's a researcher. He's a founder. He's a president of the American Institute for Boys and Men and the man behind the Of Boys and Men newsletter. Now, this guy's not here to stoke outrage or push an agenda. His work is all about providing clear, practical insight into the biggest challenges facing boys and men today. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is excited to introduce you to Jimmy, Richard V. Reeves. Now, Richard's breaking down everything from education gaps and mental health struggles to outdated societal expectations and legal injustices. And he's doing it with a level of clarity and nuance most people don't even try to reach. So why do we support his mission? Because he's not just talking about the problem, he's actively working on solutions, and that's exactly kind of the work we stand behind. Richard's approach aligns with what we believe. The real progress requires honest conversations, clear solutions, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. So if you care about the future of men, boys, and the society we're all building and living in, you need to pay attention to the work of Richard V. Reeves. I invite you, go follow him, go check out his Substack, read his Of Boys and Men newsletter, and if you're ready to be part of the conversation, I invite you to get involved. There you go, Richard. We're celebrating you, brother, and here's how it works. Love to have you on the show. Love to have you on the show, man. Would love to take somebody in your orbit and say, hey, let's give you the light. Let's give you the Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight light and shine it on somebody so we can bring attention to somebody in the Pay It Forward movement of the Creator Spotlight Community Corner. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. All right, Jimmy. Yeah, Uncle Keith here is slowly losing steam here as we keep rocking and rolling. We're going to get to our creator spotlight on the LinkedIn side of things. Yep, we sure are. But I got to get the button working over here first because the button didn't work over there first. There it is right there. Okay. All right. We get somebody from the other gender pool in this one. Here's a question for you. What if the success you've been chasing, grinding for, sacrificing for, turns out to be built on the wrong foundation? Could you imagine? What if you've been following a path that isn't yours? Because for a lot of high-performing entrepreneurs and executives, life looks great on the outside, success, status, the whole 9 yards. But deep down, something's off. Deep down, something's off. It's that feeling like you're winning the wrong game. And no matter how much you achieve, fulfillment just always feels out of reach. Now, imagine there's someone who actually understands that struggle. Someone who's walked that same high pressure path and came out the other side with a system to help you break free from what's holding you back. And she is not just teaching theory. She's living it every single day. Her name? Jimmy. Her name is Nicole Bliss. Whoops, no, there we got Nicole Bliss. Yes, Nicole, we're celebrating you this morning on Mornings in Lab, a conscious leadership coach who's not interested in just making people better leaders. Nope. She's guiding them to become the most authentic, aligned version of themselves, whether that's in their careers, their relationships, or their own sense of fulfillment. Nicole helps entrepreneurs and executives do something rare, transcend the patterns that keep them stuck. How? By helping them become aware of the unconscious ego fixations driving their actions, by teaching them how to step out of victimhood and start owning the results they're creating, by helping them respond instead of react to life's challenges. This morning, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is really excited to celebrate Nicole Bliss on the show here today. You can find her on her LinkedIn. And Nicole, we want to have you on the show. And here's how it works. We'd love to have you on the show where we know, because we know there's somebody in your orbit we'd love to celebrate. Nicole's all about helping people find freedom from old patterns, from outdated beliefs, from everything holding them back. So if you're a high-performing entrepreneur, executive who feel like something's missing, if you're ready to lead with purpose instead of pressure, then go follow Nicole Bliss over on LinkedIn. All right, Nicole, we're celebrating you. That's it. That's how it goes here today. All right, Jim. There we go. Okay, let's get out of here, guys. Let's go rock and roll. Let's get to work. What are you getting after today? We're back tomorrow here, Mornings in Live with Keith and Friends, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'm starting to do the P dance here. True story. Gotta go. Yep. Exactly. So, Jimmy, I'm going to get out of here. We're going to walk down the stairs. We're back tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, for a show that is about I lost my ambition. Oh, we talked about it today. And here's how I got it back. Come on up tomorrow, 8 o'clock, right here, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. Subscribe to our channel. Check out our content. Tell your friends all about the greatest morning show you've discovered right here at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Jimmy, I got to go, man. I got to get out of here. I do. Let's see here. Let's see the button. We're going to get this one right here. That's it. I got to go, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Jimmy, I got to go.